Myra.
And I'm Tressa, and we're Fancy Marketing People with Union, a Wyoming-based telecommunications company. Yes, Wyoming really does exist, and we proudly serve the Rocky Mountain region.
On this podcast, we will feature businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and influential people from Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Our mission is to highlight those that inspire their communities daily.
We believe this makes us truly authentic because a journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a single step.
Hey, Tressa.
Myra!
I know.
Good to see
you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you. For those that may only listen to the podcast audio only, it really is me. I'm pulling a Phoebe Buffet where I have lost my voice, but I'm going to lean into the raspiness of it. So
you like the raspy voice?
It's a little,
like Phoebe.
It's a little, I don't know, keeping it PG, but it's
That's right.
yeah.
She was licking tissues to keep herself sick.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't want to be sick. I would like for it to go away because I feel like I look okay and I feel
great.
okay. Yeah, and it's, I don't know. I was joking because I was talking to Keith before the podcast, and I'm like, with my job, all I do is talk. I talk and I talk and I talk. And so I did it to myself. But I tried to let my vocal cords rest. I drank multiple different kinds of tea. Mm-hmm. I gargled with warm salt water. I drank honey. I drank orange juice. I've had coffee, black. I've drank gallons of water. So I feel like I'm a pop star trying to keep my voice for the tour. I don't know. So
there you go, for the tour.
Yeah.
Have you done any silence? I know you like to talk. Yeah,
I know. I have.
Yeah.
I actually didn't talk today until I got on we do a daily huddle with our group for those who don't know too. I know Tressa, Tressa, but with our team, and that was the first time I've spoke all day, and with the time zone difference, I mean, I went about until 10:30 today without speaking. So
that's pretty good, Myra.
I allowed a rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have a voice. I cannot not have a voice. So this was my effort, my A game.
Good job. I'm proud
of you. Olympics of vocal cords.
The Olympics.
Yeah.
So how is the tropical storm going?
It's very tropical. Right, it's extremely tropical. It is very rainy. School is actually letting out 3 hours early, and then they've canceled school for tomorrow.
Wow.
And the concern is mostly flooding. I think we're supposed to get up to almost 10 inches of rain. And then certain parts of the area where they're in the higher mountain range areas, that's a terrible way of describing that. Yes. They are prone to more flooding because of rivers, and the water levels get too high. And so I think even Blake's not working tomorrow now. And then, I've tried to get my mom to come stay with us, and we'll see. She's like, I got to go to the dentist. I'm like, I don't know if your dentist will be open.
Joan, I'm tropical storm, everybody's in, but I got a dentist appointment.
I know. I'm over here. I think I bought all these non-perishable food items just in case we lose power. And, I restocked my flashlights and my batteries, and she's over here like, I got to get those teeth cleaned. And I'm like, Joan, your life is more important than your teeth, So we'll see.
If schools are shutting down, Blake's job's not. I'm pretty sure the dentist office is probably not going to be open. Just a hunch.
I have laughed so hard. And my poor dogs, I tried to get them to use the bathroom this morning, and they're like, nope. And I'm like, please use the bathroom. So there was a lot of, I didn't use my voice, but there was a lot of eyes and hand gestures, and so I finally got them all to potty. There was a break. It's a break in the weather right now, actually, which is nice. And so I took my trash cans up. I did all the things. And so we're just kind of hanging out. But I'm used to it. I grew up with hurricanes and tropical storms, and for Blake, he's like, this is so weird. I'm like, well, think of it like a blizzard. What would you do in a blizzard? And how would people react. And he's like, I see. But it's mostly just the flooding. What will happen, our trees will fall. You can't pass through roadways, and so mostly that's kind of the concern. And then power, just people getting where they need to go and power.
And how long is this supposed to last through tomorrow?
Through tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's supposed to be the worst of it. And it's supposed to be tonight into tomorrow. But it really just depends. And, I take it seriously because who knows? You never know what's going to happen or not happen,
Right.
So, but Magnolia's just excited because she gets out of school early and she doesn't have to go to school on Friday. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you're pumped. So
How is she liking school? She's
she
already
likes
wanting to get
school.
out of school.
I think that she loves school and she's really good at the academic part. I think she's struggling because she wants to be social. And I mean, I love education. I have tons of friends in education, but I feel like there are just too many rules. And I feel like, I know you have to run a tight ship. I understand, I get it. And they're 5-year-olds. But to be just so still and quiet all the time, and I've honestly felt really drained by it because every day we have to talk to her more and more over and over. And I'm like, what does this even matter? I mean, it matters. I don't want her to be disruptive, but it's just getting kind of annoying, I guess. And the other day she went to get breakfast and the bell rang, and you have to follow rules. The bell rings, blah, blah, blah. But they still allowed her in the cafeteria to eat because they can't turn students away.
Okay.
And she didn't know. We've never had this conversation before. If the bell rings,
Right.
you can't go eat. You have to go to the classroom. They still marked her tardy. And I'm like, then
They
why-
have tardiness in kindergarten?
Yes. I feel like they're treating her like a high schooler. I'm not joking. It's
Oh, that's funny.
bizarre. And so, I've laughed and we're working through things, but I think she's bored, honestly. I think
Yeah.
that academically she's advancing and doing really well. Like we have nightly checks. Her homework, it's not really homework. It's just,
Yeah.
looking at the materials and practicing numbers, practicing phonics, helping her try to work with reading. And she's excelling. But she's bored, I think. And I went through that in school too, but I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I'm so glad she doesn't have school for Friday because I'm tired of talking about school to her, Probably why I don't have a voice.
That's
because every
probably
day
it,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Repeat and review.
yeah. So I think she's getting it. It's just been obviously an adjustment. And then there's other kids who Magnolia is heavily influenced by others. And if other kids are misbehaving, she kind of wants to join the
follow
crowd.
that.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
we've been working on that,
Yeah.
that we don't do that, so
Yeah.
I'm a little
Well, it's new.
exhausted.
It'll get better. It's very
Yeah.
new.
She cried the other day and said, I wish I was the baby and Draco was the older brother. And she said, all he does is play. And I said, you know what? I'm really sorry, but it really put it in perspective for me. This is the first time I've ever had a child in school.
Yeah.
And, I told her, I said, I apologize. Daddy and mommy are learning too with you. I've never had to do this before. So grace has been our word this week. We've been trying to give grace to her and to ourselves. We're still having the conversations, but I feel like I'm putting too high of expectations on myself as a parent and then on her as a child.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, it's kindergarten for heaven's
I
sake.
know, but it's,
Take a breath.
oh my gosh. And now they can text you and they text you all the time. And I'm like, leave me alone, so I think
Be
that's
like,
part
unless
of it.
somebody's hurt,
Yeah.
don't let me know. I don't.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And things have changed and I've laughed because Blake's like, you were not this perfect kindergartner, I said, yes, I was actually. And he called my mom and my mom's like, no, she really was. Because
He's double checking your information.
yeah, he's like, there's no way. And I'm like, I follow the rules, when it comes to school.
Yeah,
I think
can
it's
see that.
probably a trauma response of people pleasing when I was a child, but
Yeah.
hey, It worked. I got through just fine, you know.
You made it.
Yeah. So I'm still compliant in the workplace too, so that works.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me what I want to hear.
Exactly. I follow rules.
I follow rules. All right. Well, should we bring on our guest?
Yes, I'm really excited. Our guest today is Tia Fitzgerald. She's with United Way. She is the Community Engagement and Marketing Coordinator for Laramie County.
Yeah.
Hi, Tia.
Hey, Tia.
Thanks for
Nice
having me.
Yeah. Thanks for being with us today.
Yeah,
We
I'm
appreciate
excited.
it.
Yeah.
So do you want to just start out telling us about your organization, the mission, the vision of United Way?
Yeah. So at United Way, we have 20 nonprofit partners here in Laramie County. So we help fundraise for those other nonprofits. So we do a annual workplace employee campaign. So we go around and talk to different local businesses and companies and try to get their employees involved and give back to the community. And by giving to United Way, they're supporting these 20 other nonprofits, which is amazing. They definitely get more bang for their buck, as we like to say. But with the nonprofits, the 20 nonprofits that we support, we also have our own 2 in-house initiatives. So we have a community schools initiative. So we are in local Title I schools, helping teachers and students and their families through any struggles they might have. I know, Myra, you were just talking about how hard it is, even on the parents.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, yeah. So yay for you, because go United Way.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a struggle, and especially for those families who are low income, they might need even more resources than the typical parent. So we get them anything that they need, and teachers as well, if they need help getting their students on a field trip, or if they need extra snacks for the kids in the classroom, even just small things like that, we try to help with. So. And then we also have our volunteer income tax assistance program. So we have a team of tax specialists who will do basically taxes for anybody who's low income in Laramie County. So, or anybody who's disabled, or we help out a lot of senior citizens. So anybody who might need help with their taxes, we do all that, and that's a free service, which is amazing because, doing your taxes can be pretty pricey sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's very cool.
yeah.
So where you say you have like 20 nonprofits underneath United Way there, how do you decide how to disperse funding?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we have every 3 years they apply and send in a grant proposal and letters of information of what their organization does. And we review that and decide if it aligns with what we do at United Way. And then right now we actually have them in 4 different categories. So we have a healthy community category, youth opportunity, financial security, and community resiliency. So the nonprofits actually choose which category they feel that they fit most best in. And then they actually determine the funding amongst themselves. So we work with, they get funding between our funds, and then we also distribute funds from the city and the county. So it basically goes into a big pot, at each category, each bucket gets a certain allotment, and then they actually decide between themselves what nonprofit gets what, which is great because then they're working together
Yeah.
and having those conversations, and it really just encourages that collaboration, which we love.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So when I was reading some stuff about United Way to prep for the podcast, because I mean, I feel like United Way is very well known, more than most organizations, I feel. And I thought I knew a lot. And then I was reading and I was learning so much as I was reading. And one of the really cool things that I liked about your mission statement is it says global reach, local presence.
Yeah.
And building stronger, resilient communities. And do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think it's really interesting that it says that global reach, but with a local presence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, United Way is a worldwide organization. There's United Ways everywhere, but each United Way is different and tries to focus on those local issues. Issues that we're having in Laramie County or Wyoming in general are going to be different than issues happening even in Colorado or, in another country. So we really try to focus on what's happening here in our own county. For example, housing is an issue here. I know housing is an issue in a lot of places, but that's one of our focuses through Habitat for Humanity, and homelessness and just different issues like that we try to focus on locally. So yeah, we really like that each United Way gets to kind of customize what they do and who they support.
So just in the state of Wyoming, is there a chapter then in each county?
Not in each county. I believe there's 3 in Wyoming.
Okay.
So here in Cheyenne, I know there's one in Casper, and in Laramie. I think those are the 3 that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does that cover the entire state? Do you guys geographically kind of spread out? And even though those 3 locations you mentioned, we're in Southwest Wyoming.
Yeah.
So does one of those kind of help cover that area?
Yeah, we definitely try. We can, even if we get a call from somebody who's not in our area, we will try to find resources for them, even though they're not in Laramie County, and I know the other United Ways do as well. So 211 is a great resource. I know you guys had Olivia on.
Yeah.
So we try to connect, since they're statewide, we try to connect people with 211 to find resources all over the state, and just different things like that. So even if they're not in our county, we will try to find resources for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So one of the things you were saying is, the United Way looks at the different communities and looks at the different states. And I know you mentioned a few things that stand out in Wyoming. Is there anything else that you feel is more localized to the state of Wyoming versus other communities that you feel United Way is helping and it stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all kind of experiencing similar issues with food insecurities, homelessness, child abuse, different things like that. I think one of our biggest things right now is mental health. We are hearing that more and more. That's become more and more prevalent. And our partners, we have regular site visits with our partners. And lately that has been the top issue we're hearing. So we have recently got some more mental health professionals in Laramie County, which is great because that is such a need, and we have very few of those. So the fact that we're expanding with that is amazing. We're really excited. So our partners are now starting to work with that as well, which is amazing.
So are you saying if somebody's having a mental health issue, you guys have a therapist or a psychologist that they could have as a resource at no charge, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, we don't on staff, but we have we now have resources in the community that do.
Okay.
I know that HealthWorks here in Laramie County now has therapists on staff. We have a great new counselor in town called Live Health. and they're a 24-hour crisis center. So that's been really great. I don't know that any of them are free, but they all have sliding fee scales, which is really great. And then we also provide, they're called single care cards. So they're discount prescription cards, and we give those out like candy because we want to help with any sort of, if anybody's on any sort of medication. It helps with pet medications too. So
Wow.
anything like that, we try to ease any sort of financial burden.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't think about like pet medications, and animals are also a big part of, I believe, with mental health and having that
Yeah.
companionship.
Absolutely.
Tressa, I know, is a big animal person also. So, and so is Keith. Keith behind the scenes is also a big animal person. So I think that's a really unique thing. I would have never thought of that, because those people need those connections, and having the ability to not have to let go of those animals or those pets for their, mental health or companionship. That's really cool that United Way does take care of that.
Yeah.
I wasn't
absolutely.
aware of that.
Yeah, it's always kind of exciting when we tell people about these single care cards and we say, you can get discounts on your own prescriptions, and they're like, yeah, and we say, and your pet prescriptions, and they're like, oh my God, yay!
I'll
I
bet.
need that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I would have mental health issues if I didn't have my dogs.
same.
Yeah.
I get it. So yeah.
Even though I
I
don't
mean,
want to go
more
use
than
the
what I do
bathroom.
today.
Yeah. It would have been escalated. Yeah.
Hey, Tia, do you have any cool, I love to always hear like success stories that you could share from people that you've helped through United Way?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I feel like there's so many.
Yeah. Tell us a few.
Yeah, well, I think specifically through the VITA program, our volunteer income tax assistance program, we hear so many great stories from those people coming out of that program. We had a lady contact us after her taxes were done, and she was just raving about the volunteers that helped her with her taxes. She said that she had recently lost her husband. She had just relocated to Laramie County. She was kind of starting all over, didn't know what to do, was very lost and, down. And this was just a huge help, not only financially, but because she didn't have to go out and find somebody to prepare her taxes for her, and she didn't have to do that herself, and that was one less thing she had to worry about. She just raved about how much that helped her, and how thankful she was for that program, which was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But there's so many, honestly. I mean, it's working for a nonprofit is a lot of work. And it sometimes, it kind of is draining, but hearing those success stories really just keep you going.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how did you get involved with United Way? Like, was this a vision of yours? Did it just kind of come to you? Tell us a little
Yeah,
bit
it
about
kind of
that.
just happened. Prior to United Way, I worked for the Downtown Development Authority, our local Chamber of Commerce, and Visit Cheyenne. It was kind of like a shared position among the three organizations. And there were some organizational changes, and so a lot of the staff was kind of up in the air, didn't know what we were doing, and I felt like I needed a change. And one of my friends said, United Way is hiring. I think you'd be great for this. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'll check it out. And I just kind of fell in love with it. And I've lived in Cheyenne pretty much my whole life, and I just love this community. And I thought, what better way to give back to this community, than working with a nonprofit who will support so many people. So
Yeah. How long have you been there?
a little over a year. So it was a year in July, I think. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say is your favorite program or something that you've been a part of in the last year with United Way that you feel has made the most impact for you to be a part of, in the community?
I feel like I'm a little biased because my very first day on the job was with an event called the Back to School Bash that our youth opportunity group puts together. Um, and it's amazing. They put together backpacks full of school supplies for any child who needs it. There's no income restrictions, there's no anything. If you need school supplies, you come get school supplies. Um, and it's not only school supplies, they get coats, they get haircuts, they get physicals, dental checks, they'll get lunch, pretty much anything you need to be ready for school to start. That's what they provide. And it's just so fun to see the kids get so excited about the backpacks and their coats. And they're just so thrilled. And it's amazing to see that excitement and see so many people. I mean, thousands of kids come through and get backpacks, and it's amazing.
And do you do that just in Cheyenne? Or is
Yeah,
that like a statewide initiative?
that one was just in Cheyenne.
Okay.
I believe that it's hosted at the Boys and Girls Club of Cheyenne.
Okay.
And I believe that other programs like that do that across the state, but this one is just for Cheyenne, and it's so much fun too. They have like a DJ, and
Wow.
it's just a really great time, honestly.
That's awesome. It sounds great. You talked a little bit in the beginning, obviously, like people can obviously do a monetary donation. I
Uh-huh.
know you work with companies where employees can just have a donation directly
Yes.
taken out of their paycheck. But how about other ways if community members wanted to be involved? Like, do you have volunteering opportunities?
Yeah, we
Um,
do.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. We just our lights just went out, so that's fun.
I wondered. I was like,
Like,
well,
I don't know what's happening. Um,
Maybe the tropical storm.
we'll roll with it.
came
Yeah,
over.
Myra's
Yeah.
tropical storm is hitting
I'm
Cheyenne.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I've got my lights.
so on our website, it's unitedwayoflaramiecounty.org. There is a section where folks can sign up for volunteer opportunities, and we have so many different areas that people can help with volunteering. If they have any tax experience and they wanna help with the VITA program, they can help with that. We have a community investment review panel, and that's the group that goes to the site visits and make sure the partners are doing okay and checking in on them, things like that. So that's a really great group. Um, if people just want to volunteer to help us with any events that we have or any events that our partners might have, that's a really great opportunity too. So yeah, we always have things to volunteer for. So there's lots of things on there.
Yeah, I would bet you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
always doing something.
Always doing something. Yeah. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you guys face?
Definitely funding.
Yeah.
We've definitely seen donations kind of take a dip over the last few years. I think after COVID, it's just kind of been a struggle. And I totally understand why. I mean, everything is more expensive now. You go to the grocery store and spend double what you were spending before. And so I think it's hard for people to justify giving a donation to a nonprofit when they're struggling to, buy groceries.
Yeah.
And we just say, everybody's struggling. So if you're struggling, then these nonprofit organizations and lower income individuals and families are struggling even more. So we have to just all band together and help each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
absolutely.
good way of putting that because I feel like, you know, you're not wrong. And I can see the trend and seeing where donations have dipped or organizations aren't able to give as much or people aren't able to give as much. But that puts it into a perspective of, well, if the organizations can't give as much, think about those families who are struggling, who, if your organization can't, then think about, what are they going through? What are their levels of income looking like? How are they making a means to an end? Like, what does this look like in their lives? And I really think thinking in that way really changes and hopefully would change some of the organization's thought process as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you guys have any upcoming changes or events that you're going to be doing
Yeah.
the end of this year into 25?
Yeah, so we are really excited. There is a event that happens in Cheyenne every fall and winter. It's called Thankful Thursday. So this group chooses a nonprofit every Thursday to support, and the nonprofit comes out and has raffle items or auction items, all kinds of different games, things like that, to help raise money. So we have a Thankful Thursday coming up on October 17th. And it's our first one ever, so we're really excited.
Wow.
There's like a long waiting list of nonprofits in Cheyenne to try to get a Thankful Thursday. So we're really excited to finally have made it to the top of the list. So it's a lot
That's
of
awesome.
work, but we're really excited.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, is there anything, we're kind of getting to the end of our time. Is there anything that maybe we haven't touched on that you want to make sure you get out on this podcast and that people know about United Way?
I think the only other thing is, besides, if you can't do a workplace campaign or you can't volunteer, things like that, I think just getting the word out to people about us and these other organizations is really helpful. Sometimes you don't know about these organizations until you actually need them or you know somebody who is using them. And so I think just getting the word out about these organizations is really important, and just spreading the word about all the amazing resources that we have to help.
That's awesome. Well, before we leave, we ask our guests, Tia, how do you stay authentic?
Oh, I do a lot of self-care. So I try to, I take morning walks with my dog every morning, and I try to just decompress and unwind and just try to keep my head clear and, do a lot of yoga.
That's great.
Yep. Self-care is important.
Self-care is very important.
Absolutely.
Top priority. Well, Tia, thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us. It was a great conversation.
Yeah,
I learned a
Thank you
lot.
so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, until next time.
Stay authentic.
Comment.